Hello and welcome to my screencast. My name is Tyler. I'm going to be guiding you through a step-by-step tutorial today. Thank you, Mr. Coronado, for this amazing project. I'm absolutely loving it right now. Take 36, give or take. I'm going to be ready for a beer after this. Let's see. So really, this tutorial is just going to be based solely upon some basic design techniques and using different elements like type, texture, and imagery to create something dynamic. And I'm going to try and do that in a short amount of time. And hopefully I won't bore the hell out of you in the process. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out by opening Adobe Illustrator, which is what we're going to be working in solely today. I already have that ready to go, so you don't have to watch the opening sequence of that. We're going to go up to File and create a new document. I'm going to title this Solo, which will make sense in a little bit. Basically, setting up your new document, if you're new to Illustrator, is fairly simple and straightforward. All your options are in here. The advanced button usually isn't clicked, but it is for me. And this is where you're going to choose what kind of work you're going to be producing. And so what we're going to be doing is using some basic RGB for web. Not solely, I'm going to set it up so we can print it as well, but I'm going to go up to the document profile, select basic RGB. Differences is units. I'm going to use inches today just because it's basic. If you were going to be doing something for the web, I would highly recommend pixels because that's the standard measurement unit used in web design. I'm not going to mess too much with the width and the height. It's basic letterhead size, but I am going to use the horizontal option here. No bleed today, sorry. I'm going to set it up with two artboards. We're going to have a couple options I'm going to show you. And I'm going to use some high resolution imagery, so I'm going to select a high 300 ppi raster effect, and again the RGB, which is going to maintain a better screen level of color that's going to be more accurate. If I was going to be printing, I would use CMYK sometimes. That's a longer story, and I'll get into that on another day when I want to do 37 takes on a screen task. Okay, so select OK. We open our new document. Here are our two artboards we set up at horizontal. Just to show you, I'm going to go up to Window and select, View and Rulers, Show Rulers. So now we have a measurement system if you want to work with a grid or have more of a precise measuring option. Okay, so first board. I have some presets, vectors, images, so on, all ready to go in a separate folder. I'm going to open first my flock of birds. And this is a basic rendered and expanded vector image of birds with a black fill. These are grouped if you would like to and are new to this. I can't go through the whole vector tutorial, but when you're working with groups, usually you're going to want to be able to have the option to ungroup them. So that's under Object, Ungroup. And just keep my selection tool down, and just for example, ungrouping them, I can move certain pieces around to my liking. I'll keep this just for the sake of this tutorial, but you can always Control Z and move everything back to the way it was. And so now I do want to keep them grouped, so I'm going to use my selection key, create a bounding box around them. They're all selected. Object, group, good. Now we're going to go edit, cut, and we're going to bring this into our first board. So now you're going to go edit, and I'm going to paste in front, and that's important, and I'll show you why in a second. Working outside the lines is not a problem, but I'll scale these down just for the occasion. Okay, we have our first element. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the T over here, or you can simply type T for your type tool. I'm going to hold down left on my mouse and scale out so I have some room to type. I'm going to type solo, all caps. This is the same as the document we set up. So now I'm going to select a larger size just to look at it. I'm then going to select bold, and this is a Myriad Pro typeface. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this to my liking, and because we are going to use this type as the main foundation for our mask, I want to get it as close in as I can. So you can see these changing and moving around here. I'm changing the kerning on that by simply holding down Alt and using my arrow keys. I'm going to squish these in so we can get about as much room as possible to have a better amount of imagery that's going to show through that. That'll become apparent in a second. Okay, so that's all selected. I'm ready to go. Now I want to change this from an editable type to an actual vector image. And technically it's an object, but image object, whatever. You want to go to your type after you have it selected, and let's see. Sorry, I need my selection tool. So I'm just reselecting it with the selection tool. I had my type tool on still. Excuse me. So go back up to type. It doesn't have to be, you know, blacked out or anything. Create outlines, and now we have created an object out of type. This is no longer a functioning editing type object. It is a vector image or object now that is solid. Okay, so object, and I want to group this. It should be grouped anyways, but I just want to make sure. Okay, and then I'm going to bring over these birds on top of it to create a little bit of aesthetic effect. And I'm holding shift to make sure that as I'm changing the size of the bird's bounding box, they're not going to be stretched or pulled. So if I didn't hold shift, they would look all awkward and weird, and we don't want that. I'm going to kind of bump these up so that their flight path is a little bit more slanted. Okay, so we're good there. Alright, so now this is where it becomes important, where the birds were placed in front. I'm going to make sure they're still in front here. So I'm going to select Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. That is because what we're going to do right now is select both the type and the birds together. And we're going to go up to Object and create a compound path. So compound path, make. You're going to see some changes here where this has now been structured and fused together, so to speak. However, what was black on black will now be changed and reversed. So where the birds were black on the black type, they've been knocked out. And this is just kind of a cool effect. but it gets even better when we are going to bring in our image and show what this actually does when we want to either mask it or place it over something else. So I'm going to bring in an image, and that's File, Place, and I'm going to go to my pre-selected folder, select Images, look at the thumbnails, and I'm going to select this bad boy. So when you're placing an image, always make sure to embed it, or it can get lost when you do file saves and stuff. Again, shift and drag for your image adjustments. I'm going to place this in the center. And so for the first part, I'm going to select our object and bring it over here. Scale it down. Okay, so it's outlined. That means because the image was placed, it was just placed above. So what you do, you keep this selected, object, arrange, bring to front, and we're good. And now you can see where that compound path was made. That white negative now becomes transparent and knocked out. So the background is actually showing now in all these places through. So those bird shapes, their negative space now becomes filled with the background image. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to enhance this a little bit. It kind of looks cool right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to select our object, and then we're going to play with some blending modes. So I have my transparency box open already. If you need, go to Window and select Transparency. Mine's already selected, and that'll bring up this transparency box. Here are all our blending mode options, normal to luminosity. I've worked with a lot of blending modes, and personally I like overlay for this. It's nice, soft, and just enhances some things. So we're just going to kind of bleed this into the sky a little bit. Not too crazy, but enough to where it just gives it a little kick. So as you can see, the blending mode has changed our object into something that has now become a little radiant and set back a little bit more into the sky. Okay, option 1, done. Now we're going to mask this. It's going to be quick, but it gives it a cool effect and just gives you more options. Click and drag with the Alt key and Shift down. Okay, we're going to copy that, and now I'm going to copy the image that we're going to mask with. Click and drag that. And actually take care of the opacity. I'm going to turn that off. Excuse me for that. Okay, now we're going to shift click and copy, or not copy, but select both the image and the type. And now I'm going to go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make. Alright, this is basically warning me that the vector is pretty crazy and complex, so sometimes it doesn't work. I believe it's going to work, so yes, and this is what we have. Version and option 2 of what we've created. To see the mask change, we can go into isolation mode by double clicking, and now I have the option of changing the image size within that mask, which will completely alter and change how things can appear and look and so on. And I kind of want to get that boy, the solo man himself, in there, and that's about good. Click out of that, double click to get out of isolation mode, and I'm just going to make this a little bigger so you can see it's a little pixelated, but whatever. And there we go. There you have it. Yeah, 2 examples of what you can do with some basic techniques. I hope you enjoyed this, and Ian, you better give me an A.